parents fighting against what they call a broken child welfare system. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell, arguing one state's drug testing procedures, which are designed to ensure sobriety, are leading to false positives and separated families.
In many states, when drugs are the basis of a child welfare case, parents can be required to submit to hair follicle drug screens. Those screenings are done by private labs with contracts that cost some states more than $1 million a year.
Reporter Sierra Cummings has been following these stories since the first allegations came to light and joins us now with more.
I started digging into this in 2024 when a mother's kids were taken away from her after a state subcontracted drug screen showed she was positive for methamphetamine. Since then, I've talked with more than a dozen parents who say they had to prove their own innocence by getting independent drug tests. It's a move that helped a Georgia mom remain with her kids after she saw our reporting. This is no laughing matter for Lisa Trantham, but laughing
it was really bad.
Is how she gets through telling the story, one where she's accused of being on drugs. It started in 2024 when Elisa's 7-year-old daughter had severe bladder troubles.
She had gastric issues. I had been through 3 specialists. Each one of them had the same treatment that was not working, and she was getting worse.
These x-rays show the problem. This area of her abdomen should be empty. Instead, a huge blockage.
It was like the size of a baby's head. There's no way it was coming out.
It led to irregular and uncontrollable bowel movements.
She had soiling, so I was like, I'm not risking the bullying. I'm not risking other kids finding out.
Elisa kept her daughter home, telling a school official they're stopping the medicine as well. That's when staff reported Elisa to the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services. Defects, she alleges.
Stopping that treatment was to actually figure out one that would really solve your daughter's problem.
Yes.
But instead, you end up having more problems from the
Yes,
state.
and
right?
every time I tried that treatment, she was in pain, she was crying. She still wouldn't even use the bathroom for days and days.
Elisa understands why she was reported to child welfare because school workers are among Georgia's mandated reporters, employees and officials legally required to report suspected abuse or neglect. Elisa would know, a mandated reporter herself as a local paramedic.
I've always been the caller. I've never been the one called on, I do work with a lot of behavioral health transports as far as suicidal, detoxing from substance abuse. Get a lot of children in this system as well.
So when defects workers came over to inspect the house and collected hair samples from Elisa's head for a hair follicle drug screen,
So I just kind of do it to the back.
the trained paramedic was not surprised, but the results left her stunned. Positive for multiple drugs, including methamphetamine.
I was shocked, and then I just started crying. I didn't know what to do. I was really shocked.
A veteran paramedic celebrated and awarded for saving lives, now threatened by accusations of endangering the lives of her children. In fact, a defects worker wrote in case notes, there's a safety threat with concerns of substance abuse, saying Elisa must have 24/7 supervision when around her 2 minor children, adding Elisa must comply with 2 weekly random drug screens.
Do you use drugs?
No, no. I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I definitely don't use drugs.
But she is on these doctor-prescribed heart rate and ADHD medications. Trying to get to the bottom of the alleged false positive, she went digging.
The only reason why I knew is because I saw your other stories, and I was like, oh no.
Our investigation found a troubled pattern of some labs subcontracted to do defects drug screens. Lawsuits, internal reviews, and complaints outline an unreliable system, the way some tests are performed, failing to distinguish between illicit drugs and legal medicine, and which drug concentration levels determine a true positive result. After our reporting, Georgia Defects said it was beginning the process of an audit. Since then, it remains unclear if that's happened. However, we obtained this memo the agency sent to its drug screen providers. All providers must immediately review whether current lab partners are certified by SAMHSA, the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or that they meet SAMHSA standards, including cutoff levels at initial testing and confirmation testing, meaning labs should do at least 2 tests to verify a positive, but also use certain calculations that measure how much of a drug is present in a sample, which in turn further confirms if there's actual illicit drug use. As for Elisa, she saw an expert toxicologist to review her case. His report validated her alleged false positives from DFACS labs were due to her medication. To cover all bases, at the advice of our other stories, she even began getting independent drug tests done too.
And thank God for those articles, because immediately I was like, I'm gonna go get my own test every time they test me.
The independent results? Negative. DFACS officially telling the mom July 3rd they've closed the case against her.
I don't talk about it. I just pretend like it never happened so that they can forget, And hopefully this will never happen again.
Over the course of this 7 months of investigation, Elisa's adult daughter took care of those 2 minor children, so the kids were never placed into foster care. We reached out to DFACS multiple times for comment on this story. A spokesperson told us they do not comment on pending cases. In Atlanta, I'm Sierra Cumming.
There are still families stuck in the system, like a mom who lost her children after giving birth in 2020.
Per standard process after labor and delivery, the hospital drug screened Rachel Fuller and her newborn. They tested positive for methamphetamine. Georgia's Division of Family and Children's Services, or DFACS, took custody of Rachel's daughter and later her son.
To get her kids back, she agreed to random drug screens, thinking the mandated test would prove her innocence. Instead, DFACS records said the results repeatedly showed she was positive for meth. She didn't understand why until recently.
I have very severe asthma, to the point where I've been intubated and all kinds of stuff.
Rachel uses multiple inhalers, including this one, the over-the-counter nasal decongestant inhaler levomethamphetamine. Just as the name implies, the active ingredient, methamphetamine. And it's why Rachel believes her drug screens kept coming back positive.
I love my kids more than anything. And I've never stopped fighting. And I'm never gonna stop fighting. I want my children back.
Rachel says once she learned about the inhaler, she did her best to not use it or try different ones. Ultimately, the alternatives did not work long term. With her parental rights terminated, her attorneys are appealing to the state's Supreme Court.
While DFACS doesn't comment on specific cases, the agency told us it started the process to conduct an internal review, adding based on the review, it will make changes if necessary.